Hi, I'm Antonia. This is Universally Me, the channel for all things Universal past and present. And today we're in the present again. I've got a little bit of a trend going on right now. For those of you who are here for classic or historic content, I don't want you to get concerned. I still have plenty of things in the pipeline about the golden days of Universal, but I couldn't let Lisa Frankenstein pass me by without making a video. Lisa Frankenstein is the new movie written by Diablo Cody, who you probably know from Tully, Young Adult, Jennifer's Body. She won the Oscar for Best Screenplay for Juno. And this is the feature directorial debut of Zelda Williams, who, fun fact, once upon a time I kind of knew. Not like so well that 15 years later she would still remember me, but we had a moment in time. Lisa Frankenstein is about a girl, Lisa Swallows, who is trying to recover from the death of her mother and who accidentally reanimates a corpse. To be honest, I was kind of surprised that her name was Lisa Swallows and not Lisa Frankenstein, but I mean, I guess it's all the same. And I did realize that when I thought her name was Lisa Frankenstein, I kind of went down this whole rabbit hole of like, is she then aware of Frankenstein? Does Mary Shelley exist in her world? So maybe it's for the best that that's not actually her last name, because it might have been like too on the nose and pulled me out too much. This movie is stylized and quirky. It's really campy and fun. I could tell in the first 5 minutes that I would have died for this movie as a teenager. I would have made my entire personality about it. I could instantly see all of these influences on the movie, like very Tim Burton, very Winona Ryder in like every movie from that period, especially Winona Ryder in Beetlejuice. And I kept thinking the lead reminded me of Gina Davis in Beetlejuice. I saw a ton of the Heathers, Madonna in the 80s, and then definitely some Universal monsters, inspiration and references, obviously. But I have a lot of thoughts on those, so I'm going to kind of get into them later. I will say, for being Zelda Williams' feature debut, it did not feel like her feature debut. And I think that's amazing. Like, to come on the scene, I know that she's been directing music videos and short films, and I know that this isn't like her first effort. She's been working toward this. But for being her first major full-length feature debut outing, I thought this was so good. She came into it with such a strong voice, with such a strong point of view. She knew exactly what it was. And even though she had all of these influences, it didn't feel like a blatant ripoff. And for that, I have major respect for her. And I thought the writing was really good too. It definitely didn't go the direction that I thought it was going to go in when I walked in the theater, so that was good. There's a scene early on where the main character hallucinates on like drugs that she drank at a party, and I was terrified that they were going to close out the movie by being like, oh, this was all a bad trip, and I'm happy to report it did not go that way. I also occasionally can feel like Diablo Cody shoehorns in some of those witticisms or that unique way that she has of speaking, and yeah, occasionally there were lines that felt that way, but on the whole, I thought it was really good. And to add to the compliments for this movie, because I'll give the end away now. Like, I really liked it. I thought the casting was like perfect. It was so good. Kathryn Newton, who I was just talking about in my trailer reaction for Abigail, I think she's like the hardest working woman in Hollywood right now. She is our lead. She was perfect. She too just came into it with such point of view. I feel like I'm gonna say that so much in this video, but like, she was funny and she was dark and she was dramatic, but she was light. Like, she was all the things that I wanted her to be. And there are so many basic ways or one-note ways I could have seen the role being, and she was 1,000 notes. It was great. And Liza Soberano, who I literally had never heard of before this movie, but like, maybe I should have, because she has 18 million Instagram followers, so I don't know where I've been. She plays the sort of hot cheerleader stepsister who you feel like you've seen 1,000 times, right? We know exactly what this character is, but she's actually really like sweet and welcoming and kind to Kathryn Newton's character in a way that literally nobody else is. And I know that some of what she brought to the role has to do with Diablo Cody and her writing, right? Like, she wouldn't have been that way had it not been in the script. But on the other side, she still played it in this way that felt new and fresh and unique. And I don't think every actress could have done it that way. So I'm really excited to see more of what she's done and more of what she can do. And Carla Gugino, who I'm in love with, I thought, again, she was like note for note perfect. She hit everything so right. I only wish we could have had more of her, but like, I understand why we couldn't. Lastly, Cole Sprouse is the creature. I really have to commend him because he spent almost half of the movie completely unrecognizable. If you didn't know that it was him going into the movie, you probably wouldn't realize until pretty late on that it was him. And he has basically no lines. He speaks in grunts, in sounds, in body language, in looks, and this could have been repetitive or distracting. It could have been a problem, but I don't know, he managed to do it really well. I think that he and Kathryn Newton, they both had these really great evolutions, these journeys that they were on. In some ways, Kathryn Newton's journey could have happened without Cole Sprouse. Obviously, the movie wouldn't have happened, but her journey could have happened. But I think that he recognized that. He came forward, he did what he needed to do in service of her, and then he kind of blended back so that she could go where she needed to go. And I think that actually takes some real understanding, some depth, some knowledge to be able to step in and then give that space like that. One thing that was really fun was trying to hone in on all the classic references in this film. And I'm sure I didn't even catch half of them on first watch. But A Trip to the Moon made regular appearances in the film. They read a poem by Percy Shelley to Mary Shelley, the author of Frankenstein. Kathryn Newton is dressed like Nurse Ratched in one scene. And then in her room, it is plastered with Universal Monsters photos and references. And now I'm going to sound a little crazy or a little off, but sometimes I actually really struggled with that in the film. I think for me at times it felt a little shoehorned in, like, yeah, that's awesome that they're making reference to all of these classic monsters, but I couldn't really figure out how or why Lisa Swallows would have those in her room. So she had a Creature from the Black Lagoon poster. There was a Karloff mummy poster. There was, I think it was a Frankenstein poster. It definitely had a picture of the Frankenstein monster on it. There was a sketch of the Gill Man and even a Bauhaus poster, which would be reference to Bela Lugosi's Dead and the Bela sessions. Again, it was all really fun. Like, I spent a lot of time then staring at her walls and scenes to look at. And I never want to say that I want less monsters or less references, like anything is better than nothing. But I sort of wish that they were a little more purposeful, or that they weren't just like throwing things up, but they were figuring out why Lisa would have had these in her room or put them up in a way that made sense for her. I'm not selling these, but I will post like an affiliate link. Like on Etsy, for instance, there are these Universal Monsters like black lights that I think are so cool, and aesthetically in her room like would have looked awesome and been this great statement piece instead of just throwing a poster on the wall. The other thing that kind of pulled me out of the movie from time to time was it just maybe felt a little too self-aware at times. I could tell in a scene that they were looking for their GIF, their memeable moment. It like teetered on the brink of inauthenticity. And I think I could see that like certain, I don't know, quotes or looks or costumes or moments, it almost felt a little like it was serving the promo and the marketing team rather than serving the movie itself. But overall, I thought this movie was so fun. It is absolutely going to become a guilty pleasure movie for me. I can see myself throwing it on all the time. I have a feeling at some point I'm going to know the quotes. I'm going to end up saying them out in the world. It is my kind of movie. And I really enjoyed the themes and the messages that I got out of it. I interpreted it as grappling with grief and with life and death and even who to be in this world. One of my favorite quotes from the film was about time. It's like, they say time heals all wounds, but time is the wound, and it takes you further and further from when you were happy. And I don't know, it just really hit me. Now, unfortunately, I was literally the only person in the theater when I saw this movie, which I don't know if that bodes well for box office or how it's gonna do. I did make a post on my Facebook, which you guys should all follow, by the way. It's probably where I post like my best stuff. I made a post on Facebook. I did have people saying that they were gonna see the movie this weekend. I hope that is true. But my guess, my prediction is this is not going to be this like big banger box office film. But I think it has potential to get a really strong cult following. I actually do see this movie perhaps standing the test of time. And I wouldn't be surprised if 10 years from now, Hollywood Forever is doing a big screening in the cemetery and everybody goes knowing like every line from this movie. It feels like it really has that potential to me, and I hope that turns out to be right. For everyone here that saw the movie, I want to know what you think. I want to know if you think that I'm right, that it's going to get a cult following, if you think it's just going to burn out, or if you think actually word of mouth is going to like take this to #1 at the box office. I'm excited to see, but I want to know what you think. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Antonia Carlotta, and Facebook, as I mentioned before. Join the Laemmle family with a paid YouTube membership or on Patreon to support my work and for bonus content. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.